Welcome back to Rolling Hills Farm. Dave here. I'm back in the shop for what I hope will be our last big indoor shop project this spring. This is our 520 New Holland manure spreader, and it needs a new floor. These 520 spreaders had this composite floor. I'm not even sure what it is, some kind of plastic or something screwed in. You see where the individual screws go across. We'll be taking this chain off, opening a chain link on the side, and then tearing this floor out. I'm replacing the floor with this locally milled, actually from my woods, ash. You see we've had these ash boards drying in here all winter long. We're hoping that this hardwood will make a solid replacement floor to last a few more years. The 520 was built in the 1980s by New Holland. As best I can tell, 1986 to 1990. There were a couple of different models, which really relates to the size. Ours, the 520, is equipped with a slop gate. So this gate goes up and down hydraulically and allows you to pack in the load. So if you're going down your driveway or down the road, you don't leave a bunch of manure out on the ground. And it really was built for dairy farmers to keep, they're hauling a lot more liquid stuff than we are, and to keep it all on board. The other issue we face is the sag to the deck chain. It's kind of hard to see, but it's adjusted all the way out. We're going to open it up and take a link, probably one of these links out on each side, maybe two, to shorten this chain so we can bring up the adjustment again. When I loosen these bolts, you should see this sprocket assembly pop back from the weight of the chain. There we go. See how the chain is dropping now? There, a pin out. Somebody before me replaced these sprockets, so that's good news. So I'm just going to pull this chain out of the way down here and let it sit on the frame for now until I get the floor pulled out of here. Okay, here's my first look at, real look at the underside. All in all, this looks pretty good. The main axle is solid all the way along, and so are the supports. And even this edge along here where the boards ride is solid. So I think we're actually pretty lucky here. We got to this in time before it deteriorated so far that the cross members rotted. Right, so next I need to go along and grind off all these, what's left of the screws that held these fiberglass boards down. Well, it's such a warm day outside, I've opened the door to the shop, which is crazy in March, but this is really dusty work. So I'm gonna vent it a little bit while I take all this rust and ash off the sidewalls. So we'll clean this off and then paint it with a primer for rusty metal before we put an actual coat of paint on it. There. Not pretty, but primed all the way around on the inside. Now we'll get some paint on it and then the floor. Well, next day it's a little chilly to be outside, so we've got the interior of this spreader primed, and now it's time for some New Holland red paint. And it looks very red. So I'm getting ready to start painting, and I just got a text message from my friend Greg. I don't know if you can see it here. His trail cam is picking up a timber wolf in broad daylight. We've been seeing just a lot of timber wolves the last few weeks on our trail cams too, neighbors on all sides of us. There seems to be a very active pack right now, right around here. It's actually unusual for us to see timber wolves, certainly in the daylight. We rarely get them on trail cams, and sometimes you'll see some sign. But this year, for whatever reason, we're just seeing a lot of them, as are all the neighbors. And I think it might have something to do with the fact that we've got virtually no snow, and the deer are able to move around and the wolves can't catch them and eat them, because these timber wolves look awfully thin, the ones on camera. This is going to be something we're going to have to watch as we get closer to calving season. You see all the little crevices here that the roller won't get. It would have been better if I'd sprayed this, but getting the sprayer going just seemed like a pain. And after all, it's a manure spreader. We're not going to win any points for show quality paint. All I want to do is get a few more years of life out of this thing. But when you actually get going with a roller, covers pretty fast and really nice. You get nice coverage with the roller on this thing. Well, you can see it really makes a difference as we work our way forward, including up the slop gate, which I'll finish from the backside. The end and the beaters will be the last thing I do. I'll do it from on the outside. Well, there, it's bright, and there's some drips, but it's covered, at least on the inside. The working side of this machine has at least a little bit of paint on it with primer underneath. All right, it's next day, and you can see the paint is, well, it's feeling pretty dry, but I still want to let it dry a little longer, and I'm going to take the time now to make this reinforcement. You see, this is the ramp. The chain slides up and it's worn. So we're going to weld up a couple of pieces of metal, or we're going to bend up a couple pieces of metal to weld in here to reinforce this while we've got it open and it's easy to get at. So I've got this sheet of 1/8" steel, unpainted, that'll work great. So I've put a little bend in it to correspond with a bend there, and then I'll clamp it in place and we'll weld it on. Clamped in place, ready for welding. Well, that's some ugly welding, but it's strong. It's mostly welded from underneath, and it'll provide additional support as that chain rides up there. Now let's get some primer and paint on it. This needs to dry for a couple of days, and then we can get to work on assembly of everything we've taken apart. The floor and the chain. This is the wood that is going to be going back in the floor. This is black ash cut from this farm. I've got a friend who milled it, and it's been planed down a little under 3/4 of an inch, and then put this lap joint, and we'll be screwing that in to the floor next. So hope you stick with us and see how this goes together, and we'll be back with, well, hopefully not a lot of problems. We'll see you then. I've gotten a couple of questions about these posters that hang up on the wall of my shop, what they're all about. Well, they were made by the young people at my last career, my job when I retired. Old photographs of me from grade school all the way through my career to when I retired as the manager. I didn't know what else to do with them, so we screwed them to the wall here. I guess it becomes a reminder when I'm working in the shop that that was my last career. This is my current career.